all of you homosexuals, faggots.
There's no one like me, I'm from their cloth. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and
Hey, nah, I seen your message at the last minute, brother.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, I'm on my way. All right, let me make sure. I know, that's why I cut you off. That's why I said I waited for you to listen.
No, Jimmy was here.
Oh,
They came to him, we were outside. Oh, they come. But food, we did the food and food.
You can hear it.
I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and most vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their cloth. There's no one that can match me.
No affiliation, why they faking? This ain't for debating. We the real, they really imitation. I be contemplating why this ain't on like heavy rotation on radio stations. I just pray the Lord give me patience, cause I'm running through these rappers like my name Walter Payton. Shitting on these rappers, 9 to 5 is my occupation. Raw, you come in with your best troops, you best bring more. Already told you I got the juice like Orenthal. Already know what I'm about to do, bet your men fall. Everyone know that we got the truth, all your men falls. So boss, overtaking our enemies. Moves calculated and orchestrated like symphonies. Smooth operated when bringing haters to misery. Top 5 list ain't shit unless you mention me. Yeah, that's why we don't associate. Fuck niggas make them more fuck niggas. Why they procreate, why they overhate, cause they time is short and a moment late. Let it culminate to they heart erase and it palpitate. Cowards perpetrate like they little group is respectable. Talking intellectual.
Perfect. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their cloth. There's no one that can match me.
No affiliation, why they faking? This ain't for debating. We the real, they really imitation. I be contemplating why this ain't on like heavy rotation on radio stations. I just pray the Lord give me patience, cause I'm running through these rappers like my name Walter Payton. Shitting on these rappers, 9 to 5 is my occupation. Raw, you come in with your best troops, you best bring more. Already told you I got the juice like Orenthal. Already know what I'm about to do, bet your men fall. Everyone know that we got the truth, all your men falls. So boss, overtaking our enemies. Moves calculated and orchestrated like symphonies. Smooth operated when bringing haters to misery. Top 5 list ain't shit unless you mention me. Yeah, that's why we don't associate. Fuck niggas make them more fuck niggas. Why they procreate, why they overhate, cause they time is short and a moment late. Let it culminate to they heart erase and it palpitate. Cowards perpetrate like they little group is respectable. Talking intellectual, all of you homosexuals, faggots.
There's no one like me. I'm from their cloth. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his
I don't
children.
want to congregate, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to fellowship, I ain't trying to build with you. Ain't the UPK, ain't the truth, keep it real with you. Defenders of the faith, I got no problem bumping heads with you. All that bullshit, you can take it over there with you. Rather be a houseboy, rather run with them field niggas. Show them to put in work, move mountain, crush hills, nigga. Take a dead soul, breathe life and make it live, nigga. No affiliation, so it's no one to compare with us. Took the Lord's laws and just added it with fear, nigga. Aim for the body, cause you know that killer head quicker. With these bars, I'm on my grizzly, so bear witness. You spit cold, I spit flu, don't compare sickness. You floss diamond, I floss fringes, don't compare dentists. UPK, we men the wall, shit, we ain't Christian. Harm one of us, get pistol whipped like the gun got a belt with it. I'm bred different, the competition just a mill. I'm fed different, I stood front line on them fields, I bled different. I'd rather be a corpse than a cow when I'm led different. Shit, I'm led different, come through like a juggernaut, so don't get in the way. And we take everything serious, we don't play. I wonder now what they gon' say. Shit, we make profits out of shooters like the NBA. You get slayed for switching sides, nigga. We ain't on the same page. Immaculate conception. Wow. These niggas bitch made. I'm sticking with the foundation where my bricks laid. You switch sides, I'd rather switch K's. You was never with us, nigga. Just know we on mission, nigga. Right hand hold the scriptures, nigga. Left hip hold the pistol, nigga. How you want it? You can get it spiritual or physics, nigga. Wrong ones to come against, so bring an army with you. No affiliation. When you see us, make the difference with us. No affiliation. When you see us, know we different, nigga. No affiliation, so no, you can't kick it with us. The wrong ones to come against, bring an army with you.
Perfect, 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 perfect.
Nothing I can say.
It's nothing I can say to make you believe. Yeah. Man, ain't nothing I can say. It's nothing I can say to make you believe. To make you believe. What if I told you that I was the son of God? Would that be easy to believe, or would you make it hard? And I finally learned the difference between wise and smart. When I say we bless people, they say times is hard. And all I can tell them is they ain't never lied. Reincarnated, I'm back like I ain't never died. Man, I won't say it if it can't be verified. Niggas say they soldiers, when war starts, they terrified. I'm about to let it ride, bring it back to pride of black skin, cause they ain't got a clue what's happening. And we still being punished from back then. How we gonna make a change when we too busy adapting? Buckle your seatbelts, make sure you strapped in. They showed us the trap, so now my people trapped in. Cause everything we wanted to be, they said we couldn't be it. I told them we was chosen people, they just couldn't see it. Yeah. Yeah. And it ain't nothing I can say. It's nothing I can say to make you believe. To make you believe.
But I'ma say it anyway though.
Keep hearing footsteps in the dark, and my dogs gon' bite while the rest of y'all barking. Moving at the speed of light while y'all parking. In that water with sharks, I ain't scared, I'm a dolphin. It ain't no talking, boy, we all action. Trying to build a nation, but them hoes is distracting. With that twerking on the pole in the back bins. Put on some clothes, set some goals, we can rap then. And we ain't never been the same since the crack came. Selling poison just to give it to the jack name. They promote the lifestyle through the rap game. Flood the hood with it, then tell you it's a black thing. They really need God, but they call idols. How these jits 14 with assault rifles? They waiting for better days. Now can I paraphrase? Niggas will kill their own brother for a pair of J's. say. There's nothing I can say to make you believe. To make you believe. Let me say it anyway.
Because I'm willing to fight against drug dealers if they're Muslim, if they're Christian, if they're atheist, if they're Buddhist, if they shooting black men, guess what? I'm gonna say something about it. Because you know why? Just like you ain't gonna, like your boy said, it ain't gonna happen. Guess what? I'm not letting nobody sell you drugs without me saying that. I'm not gonna do it. You know why?
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues for this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good wreck. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good ship. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain, something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword, with a style that they might just record. The only thing equal is the curse for the wicked and the righteous reward. Have mercy on the men that don't see it, separated from the tares. Now on my prayers and it's so be it. A rebel, take the world by word of mouth. UPK, we the rebels that you heard about. Yeah. And it ain't gonna stop till 100 virgins in the house and I'm handing verdicts out. Get rank, you ain't heard a clout without a shadow of a doubt. These devils hitting licks off us. Fuck the bank, I'm about to stone the pocket ticket office. Can't sweet talk us, cannot stop us. And plus I know the feds watch us, telling people that they church full of witch doctors. Put us in prison, they stockpile us. Meanwhile, UPK turning rebels into rock wallers. In league with mighty men, and now I understand things that never truly made sense. Like why I'm crying at this funeral for a criminal, knowing he ain't innocent, it's fucked up. But my boots shine, standing between two priests, about to blaze on their ass, call it tough love. Look out for niggas just cuz, and wouldn't touch a white bitch with OJ's black gloves. Father, forgive me for my error, I'm forever by your side. Clean and purge me of all my flaws. This the reason I'm alive, thank God for this truth. Cause for a long time was a rebel without a cause.
Look, man, first time I met Commander Junior Honda, man, hit 3807.
Rebel without a
I had
cause.
my little daughter with me. Opened the door, he was dropping the truth on me and all that.
Rebel
He said,
without a
yeah,
cause.
man, you know, you do your time. We taking the mountains, training in hand-to-hand combat.
Rebel without
said,
a
oh,
cause.
yeah.
It's the reason I'm
Shine me
alive.
up,
Thank
nigga.
God for this truth. Cause for a long time was a rebel without a cause.
And you cannot whoop us. We're already dead. We're already beaten down. We've been beaten down for 400 years. We already got the wounds inside and outside our bodies. How you gonna hurt us? You cannot threaten us. You cannot frighten us. We live in the most frightening places, under the most frightening conditions. We are immune to fear. We are immune to harm. You see what I'm saying? You have stepped into a cesspool. You're the only one gonna get infected.
En beat de producer.
This is the Isupk out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. And y'all niggas mad, huh? I know why y'all niggas mad though. Cause we ain't affiliated with none of you niggas out there. And that foundation what kept this building up since 1969, nigga. Since y'all want to leave home and cause all types of divisions and shit, cool then. The world already knows. It's just this simple. We not them niggas.
I told you we not them niggas. I told you we not them niggas. I told you we not them niggas. I told you we not them niggas. This is one West UPK. You ain't bout my father's business, stay up out our way. I told you we not them niggas. 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 This is one West UPK. You ain't bout the kingdom, niggas, stay up out our way. I told you we not them niggas. They are full of sin, niggas. They the ones that are out there talking about raping little kids, nigga. Truth is they don't fear God. Well, truth is they don't care, niggas. Spoil the child by sparing a rod. Yo, Christ is coming to kill, niggas. No Edomites in our head. No Hamites in our bed. We love our own people, so no visit from the fucking Fed. This shit is so damn scary. Truth is and it's uncanny. They on back pages in purple. Ordering pussy from a damn tranny. Juicy butch niggas from near me. UPK niggas unfriendly. We not them men didn't stutter. Lethal weapon, no Danny Glover. Some of these camp niggas are undercover. Law says to love one another. Smart as hell with these scriptures, but we'll them out for our brothers. I told you we not them niggas. 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 This is one West UPK. You ain't bout my father's business, stay up out our way. I told you we not them niggas. 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 This is one West UPK. You ain't bout the kingdom, niggas, stay up out our way. I told you we not them niggas. They are full of sin, nigga. They the ones that are out there talking about raping little kids, nigga. Truth is they don't fear God. Well, truth is they don't care, nigga. Spoil the child by sparing a rod. Yo, Christ is coming to kill, niggas. No Edomites in our head. No Hamites in our bed. We love our own people, so no visit from the fucking Fed. This shit is so damn scary. Truth is and it's uncanny. They on back pages in purple. Ordering pussy from a damn tranny. Juicy butch niggas from near me. UPK niggas unfriendly. We not them men didn't stutter. Lethal weapon, no Danny Glover. Some of these camp niggas are undercover. Law says to love one another. Smart as hell with these scriptures, but we'll them out for our brothers. I told you we not them niggas. 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 This is one West UPK. You ain't bout my father's business, stay up out our way. I told you we not them niggas. 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 This is one West UPK. You ain't bout the kingdom, niggas, stay up out our way. One West to the death since 1969, niggas.
Warrior with the hands, that's what I'm all about. Hunger in my eyes, vengeance in my mouth. They don't want no altercation. Situation gon' get critical. It's best that you be easy. The end gon' be biblical. Look, flow like a river. It's something like a miracle. Royalty in my veins, loyalty in my ways. Payback in every breath, plus revenge in my heart. The truth in every word. Bring light into the dark. And I ain't never lukewarm. Shit, I blazing in the season. Got plenty food for thought. Just gotta watch who I'm feeding. And I been walking with them angels. So I guess I got this pistol for no reason. Niggas barely breathing, criticizing all my achievements. Won't make me weak. Nah, it won't make me slack off. These niggas baby fat soft. Better bear witness or back off. I be ripping shit like sackcloth. Dumb dogs all barked out. Muhammad say our cup full, no room for emotion, so I pour my heart out. This road hard, but I intend to stay. And if it ain't UPK, then they in the way. My niggas righteous, they real, they down to suffer. Flow so deep, it'll drown a motherfucker. He say he in the truth, oh yeah? Well, this the home. And I don't hate them brothers, I'm just too loyal to my own. Plus what they believe, hard for me to follow. No rank me, no head, and I ain't leaving this body to live and sleep in hollow. So when they ask I'm UPK, you tell them absolutely. And I ain't trimming my ways for nothing, gotta execute me. Cause I can never die with my tail tucked between my legs. Shit I be thinking, watching my daughters tucked in their bed. They so smart, and Alana, she so beautiful, but they ain't like other babies, and they daddy far from usual. Now I'm missing cause I'm about my father's business. It ain't about the shit I used to do in that 98 Navy, the tan leather seats. See, without wisdom, this world make you weak. I found out that the truth was bitter, the lies are sweet. Tried everything, I guess me and Johanna had to meet. Now I make the blind see, and I make the dead speak. And teach both my little girls the day that they lie with a man, they better bring me bloody bed sheets. Chaos match the time, this Glock match my handpiece. And I ain't trying to take him out, but I will defend this house. Or take a check, 144 in that black trench on some hitman shit. Should call me 47. Praying for Armageddon, me and my soldiers dressed for the wedding. Fuck the fame, ask why, tell them I'm loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign, loyal to the king. I want that straight lane to break the chain. Loyal to the king, them devils can't have me, bitch. I'm loyal to the king. That's right. Bring that hot flame, you bitch ain't loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign, loyal to the king. I want that straight lane to break the chain. Loyal to the king. Them devils can't have me, bitch. I'm loyal to the king. Bring that hot flame, you bitch ain't loyal to the king.
You understand? You done found a new breed of Hebrews that stand and walk with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And we don't care who we got to come up against. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and gonna continue to take them all on.
Surrounded by Edomites, lost a lot of truth to this tree of life. Open up the book just to see I'm right. Reminiscing on my ancestors, on those ships who had to plead for life. Took us to a place where ain't never safe there. Poisoning our foods and put our children up in daycare.
Shalom. We're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are under Commanding General Yohana. If you're not in the Isupk, you are not in the truth. It's Tuesday's Brotherhood class, and Brotherhood is one of the strongest, most powerful forces that you could have. Is that better? Yeah. Recently in the news, you know, with George Floyd, the passing of the brother, the murder of him actually, and the riots that ensued. A lot of people looking for solutions. Some people say we need to vote. Some people say we need to march. Some people decide to riot. But I believe that brotherhood is the ultimate solution for all that. So let me say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, we've been marching since, I don't know, 60, 64, 68, probably even before then, and nothing resulted from it then, so why would we expect to get a different result now? And every time one of our people are murdered, we, riot, march, get some little piece of legislation, and pretty much the nothing changes. And right after George Floyd was murdered, we have another brother murdered in the Wendy's parking lot just for, sleeping in his car. So obviously, if all the, march and anything, didn't have any effect so soon after his death, then obviously, you can expect things to continue. So the true solution to that is brotherhood. And you learn brotherhood right here in this ISUPK.
That's right.
So, during these riots, I did notice something else. I noticed that there are a lot of oppressors out amongst the rioters, breaking glass windows, throwing bricks, mostly the oppressors. Now, it's kind of ironic that the same people that enslaved us and whipped our backs and killed our forefathers are the same people that we go and seek solutions from. So you're going to kill us on one hand, and then we come right back and ask you to free us and give us some sort of justice, to free us from the very injustice you placed upon us. So if that's not insanity, I don't know what. So I think it's imperative that we identify who our enemy is, because it's pretty obvious that we don't recognize who the enemy is, because otherwise you wouldn't ask your enemy to give you justice.
How about that? Right. That's right.
So can you imagine, somebody you have in the street you got to an argument with, or it was almost ready to come to blows. You wouldn't turn around a week later and ask them to make you whole for any injury that they may have caused you. They probably hit you in the mouth before they, give you any type of, relief or, satisfaction. So let me pull, a lot of people familiar with this one. Give me the Deuteronomy 28:68. I'm gonna start there.
Deuteronomy 28:68?
Yeah, Deuteronomy 28:68. And I think because it's very clear and it defines who the enemy is. And right there in the scriptures. And part of that brotherhood, we're going to share with you right now, is identifying who the enemy is. Just let me know when you got it.
Come, sir. I got it. We'll read.
Come.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Your what?
You're sold unto your enemies.
Go ahead.
For bondmen and for bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So clearly, there's no other people on the face of this earth that fits that description. We're the only people that were enslaved by way of cargo slave ships. Knee deep in piss and shit for a month long or month or more voyages across the ocean, what they call the transatlantic slave trade. To endure that, to only set foot on these shores and be beaten and mistreated and murdered even further. So these are people that you're asking to give you justice, to look on you with a kind face and a smile, the one that treats you as human. They've never treated you as human. So in the scriptures it says, shall bring you into Egypt again. Egypt, from the Greek word Egyptos, which means bondage. Anybody with a dictionary, you can quite look that up. It's not even hard. And it says you will be sold and turned to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. No. You were sold into your enemies. So clearly, we know it's identifying those particular people that enslaved us as our enemies. I mean, that's, simple arithmetic. It doesn't take rocket science to get that. So you definitely wouldn't ask your enemy to make you whole. So with that, in this brotherhood, you got to know, well, what is a brother? How do you know who your brothers are? Well, we definitely know it's not your enemy. But we still run around, singing Kumbaya and marching for justice hand in hand with the very people who don't even see you as human. Let me get Ecclesiastes 12 and 10. That's in your pocket. Now, this is not to belittle brother George Floyd, but he actually had an oppressor for a wife, actually. Now, of course, that didn't make any difference. They didn't ask him, so clearly he was in the melting pot. Clearly, he thought he was, trying to pursue the American dream as much as he could. And clearly, he didn't see the oppressor as a threat, or, at least not at the time enough that you could, take his daughter to wife. So clearly, we just keep running around doing the same thing. This insanity that we constantly endure to have the same result over and over again. So. And again, in that same scripture says, you'll be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Well, in this sense, the buy you is talking about redeem. No man will save you. And there's no person or government or elected official that's going to free us from this oppression. There's no legislature or law that can be passed that's going to cure this injustice that we face. So purely, seriously, the only thing we can do is come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we do that through brotherhood. So, but then we got
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
It says, never trust thine enemy, for it's like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So right now we know who the enemy is from 28 and 68. It's the same people that brought us to these shores and placed us in bondage. And again, we're the only people that fit that biblical description, so we know who our enemy is. And here, the Most High is instructing us to never trust our enemy.
That's right. That's right.
So again, you can't trust that even if he did speak the words, even if he said, hey, you know what, is it something I can do? You can never trust anything that comes out of his mouth. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Meaning that as iron, if left to exposure long enough, its natural state is going to rust. And you give the oppressor, you let him sit in this natural state long enough, and sure, his wickedness will manifest. He's going to show it to you each and every time.
That's right. Yeah.
In this case, it didn't take a couple weeks before they murdered another brother right outside the Wendy's.
Right.
So the brother can't even sleep in his car. Sure, I'm not saying he was absolutely, holding up the driveway in a Wendy's, but does that equal death?
Right.
Should you be murdered for holding up the Wendy's burger line? Right. They murder us for the smallest of things, right, out of inconvenience, any excuse. This murder is just on his mind, just all the time. This is the one thing he runs to. I mean, that brother just could have just slept it off in the car. Could have gave him a citation. The brother even offered to walk home. Right. But none of those were good. They wanted to denigrate him, beat him down, and But why should we expect anything less? Right. Why should we expect anything less? That's how we've been treated ever since we were first snatched up, across seas and brought here and made to work. We've never been treated as human. We've always been treated as bondmen and bondwomen, as the scripture said. So, you got something?
Yeah. That scripture, that's real heavy. What you said about how they got that hate for us. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Think about that scripture, perpetual hate. They have a perpetual hatred for us, and just by what's been happening in the last couple of months, if you notice, even with their killers and their murderers, they got so much patience with them.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to us, the slight, least little thing that happens and they murder us, and that scripture proves true that they have a perpetual hatred for us. They show the Edomite with a knife chasing the police and they would not shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
They show the Edomite with a gun that killed the sheriff because he wouldn't shoot him. They got so much patience with their own. And that scripture proves so true when it says they have a perpetual hatred for us. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, that's powerful. That's heavy what you was bringing out, you know?
So, again, in this Ecclesiastes 12 and 10, we know that this enemy that the Bible describes, his nature is to be wicked. And if I can sidebar for just a second, I know I hear a lot of people say, you know, we out on the street, we call the oppressor the devil that the Bible speaks of. And they just, you know, I guess it's their second nature just to try to appease the oppressor, and they really don't. You know, show us that in the Bible. We don't see that. So, you know, I took the time out, not just, you know, pulled up in the dictionary. You know, you got that for me. It's Merriam-Webster. And actually, if you know, you had that on your phone, if you just type in M/W, pull up the Merriam-Webster, and you look up the word devil, you go down to about, I think it's like the third one. You got that for me?
Yeah. Definition of devil. Third definition. An extremely wicked person.
What? It's an extremely what?
Wicked person.
Okay, so right there. So when we say an extremely wicked person, rather than say all that, we just call him what he is, the devil. And we know here from Ecclesiastes, right here in the scriptures, it's saying, never trust thine enemy. And we know our enemy is the same people that brought us here to these shores to be bondmen and bondwomen. So not only are we not to trust him, but we know like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. And there's nobody on the earth that's been more extremely wicked than this oppressor. You can't think of one place on this entire earth that he hasn't raped, pillaged, and murdered. All the way from Australia, those people are pretty much wiped out now. Gone. The native Indians up and down the shores of Maryland, the Susquehanna tribes used to live along the Susquehanna River, pretty much non-existent now. Most people probably never even heard of it. But this land you should be bumping into one like every 5 minutes. But pretty much wiped them out, gone. If that's not wicked, I don't know what is. And Native Americans that's left, you got them held together in reservations. The black man, you got them squirreled away in projects and squalor in urban cities. And then when he lashes out to try to reach for some American dream that you put in his face every day, you claim criminals and call us thugs and degenerates. You starve a man, it's more like and then criminalize him for trying to eat. So when you hear us say that, this is the only way that we can express ourselves. This is the language that you taught us, English. And according to this English dictionary here, a devil is somebody who's extremely wicked.
Right.
And I'm reading here in the scriptures that our enemy is extremely wicked. Right. Like iron rusters, so is his wickedness. And we know our enemy is the same peoples that brought us over here as bondmen and bondwomen. So your enemy, the devil that the Bible speaks of, you should never go to him to march hand in hand to seek justice and not seriously expect a real result. It'll never happen. The only way we can do that is to come back to these scriptures. That's the only way. Let me get Ecclesiasticus 12 and 16. Because I know some our people are very forgiving, and if we could live in peace, we would. And that's what we've been trying to do for so long, even through the slavery and the Jim Crow and the redlining and the redistricting and the economy and the poor housing, even through all that, even though you treat us like animals and then blame us for it, still we try to get along with this oppressor. See if we can, if we just do this, maybe if I lighten my skin, maybe if I straighten my hair, maybe if I speak with a proper diction, maybe I'll be accepted. Maybe if I get a nice house in the suburbs and keep my lawn cut. But that doesn't matter. Whether old or young, rich or poor, it doesn't seem to matter when he's out to murder. Let me know when you got that.
Come. I got it. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
He wants your life. And though he speaketh sweetly, you see him on TV and they're saying, oh man, such a tragedy what happened. Black Lives Matter. We need to have a serious dialogue on race. It's time to start the conversation. Although they sound sweet, although it might sound like, now maybe this is the time. This is the time. There's never been a time like this before. And obviously those people who hasn't really paid attention to our history, they think that now somehow this is different. Somehow now is going to be the time where he, have a change of heart. There's no legislation that you can change what's in somebody's heart. You can't change his disposition. You can't legislate that away. There's nothing on paper that you could put down that's going to change his mind. You only need to look at the treaties with the Native American, over 500 and some odd treaties, and he did not keep a single one, not even worth the parchment it was written on, which are still enforceable to this day, by the way. Right. Those treaties are still in effect, or still, would be still enforceable, but he only, enforces the laws that he chooses to. It's beneficial for him. Well, sir.
He keeping them treaties as souvenirs. Those are souvenirs to show what he did, how he duped us. That's why he got them. He got them our oppressor does what he wants to do. You know what I mean? And it's not that he does what he wants to do. It's that we allow him to do it because we don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments that was given to us by the Most High. Following the law, statutes, and commandments will make his whole kingdom fall.
So there's no legislation that we could pass. So then you have to ask yourself, what's the point of this marching hand in hand with the oppressor like he's your brother? No, that's not how it's going to happen. The Most High gave us a set of laws and statutes to live by, and he said that your brother is going to be just like you, and it's definitely not your oppressor. Let me get Proverbs 11:21. So when you see the oppressor on TV and we got tears in their eyes and this is just unconscionable. Held his knee on his neck, had his hand in his pockets to apply more pressure. And by the way, that was a Asian guy who stood right there and stood watch, and was complicit with the murder of our brother. So don't think that you got to ally with them out.
Not only that, he's the one that said that's what happens when you're on drugs.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So they always assume because it was never even mentioned that he was on drugs. They never, because if the oppressor find out that you're on drugs, that's the first thing he's gonna bring out. But they never brought that out.
In this scripture in Ecclesiastes, it says his heart, he imagined how to throw thee into a pit, and he will weep with his eyes. But if he find an opportunity, he will not be satisfied with just blood. He wants to break you down, break your spirit. So anybody who actually saw that video, you could actually see the smug delight that was on his face as he was calling out the please let him breathe. And he was taking sick enjoyment and pleasure out of that. And he was just looking on, trying to look, oblivious, like, hey, no, we're gonna sit here. We're gonna sit here until I feel like moving. And that's nowhere in a police officer's description. But then again, if you know the history of police officers, that particular organization was founded on slave patrols. So they're doing exactly what they were intended to do, what they were formed to do. Go ahead, sir.
Now they say, also just to add on, when they flipped him on when that officer flipped him on that gurney, he flipped him like he already knew he was dead. Like when the so-called paramedics, so they look like police officers too. That's another story. But when he flipped him over, it's like he were.
He was already dead.
Yeah, he was already dead. They ain't never resuscitated him or nothing. They just like knew that was a hit or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, one of the bystanders that was filming with the camera phone said as much. They said that he wasn't responding. They said he's gone now. I can't believe he's gone, and he was still had his knee on him even after he was motionless. And they took his pulse, so right then and there they knew he was gone. So they try to play the same tricks that they normally play. Even now, with the coroner's report, they're saying that he died from a heart attack, basically due to methamphetamine use, whatever. And so the family went and got an independent report saying that no, he died from asphyxiation. But that's the official report, is that no, he died of heart failure due to complications from methamphetamine. That's the official report. So this is far from over.
I was going to say your heart will fail if somebody choke you out, right?
Exactly.
Your heart will fail if somebody choke you out.
But see, they couldn't gauge the public's response. So if this had just been, a run-of-the-mill, nigga dead on the street, they would say, well, officer. Basically the Art Garner playbook all over again. Even though I know you can see us choking him out.
Yeah, the heart.
Yeah,
the bad heart.
Yeah, you can see us choking him out on tape, but don't believe what your eyes see. He really died of a heart attack.
Right.
So yeah, it's the same playbook again, same thing over and over again, and they of course they hold themselves not accountable, but that's goes what I'm saying. You got that?
Come. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered.
Though joined hand in hand, you can march, sing, we will overcome. Though joined hand in hand, the wicked will not be unpunished. So no matter how many marches you join in with the oppressor, no, you can sit down at the table of brotherhood with the sons of former slave masters. That will not make a difference. So what we need to do is make sure that the seed of the righteous shall be delivered, and that's done with this brotherhood. And brotherhood is follow these laws, statutes, and commandments like Christ commanded. So that's what we're doing here in this Isupk, building that brotherhood. Because through the ISUPK. That's where you get the instructions on how to build brotherhood, and only through brotherhood will we truly and finally get justice. Only way it's going to happen. You can never go to your enemy and expect to get anything but death. And that's playing out in the news every single week. The question is that when are we going to wake up to it? I'm sure some of you looking at us right now, and hopefully you can, I'm hoping that the Most High will grant you that clarity and you can finally see. I think, our people are ready for it. That's what, you can see it in the streets. Them taking to the streets, they want a solution.
Right.
But they just need to know what it is. You come right back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Come back to this Bible.
Right.
So, when you get a chance, let me get Job 9:24.
Job.
Oh, you know what? Give me Psalms 58:3. We'll go there. That's good.
Psalms chapter 58, verse 3. The wicked are strayed from the womb. They go astray as soon as they as soon as they be born, speaking lies.
So no matter if they're old or young, rich or poor, from the womb, meaning that it's not. I know people like to say that this people are racist because they're like this because that's what they've been taught. We have to unlearn, and that's not what this scripture is saying. It says they are estranged from the womb, the wicked, and we know our enemy is the wicked one, the most wicked. And they are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. So again, like previously, you can never believe anything they're going to tell you. They'll tell you it'll be so forth. They say they will start that dialogue. They say it's time for change. But you can't take any stock in that. Unfortunately, this probably won't be the last time that we see another brother murdered. Be it in a parking lot while he's running away for his life, and they just shoot him down without even a thought, and just go on like there's nothing. And we had I believe in that particular city, Atlanta, I believe there is a black man, female. So obviously, just having people of the same race in office, that didn't help him any.
Right.
So when people say go to the ballot box, I mean, what is that going to do? Obviously, it didn't do too much for that brother. I'm quite sure he probably voted too. I mean, I don't know that for sure. I'm just going out of limb, but right. I'm sure somebody had to vote in him. And we can see, that voting, and, or they say, we need more black officers. Well, I'm quite sure they had black officers on the force that didn't stop this brother from, getting murdered. Right. They didn't say, well, my black brothers in the blue uniform wouldn't take too kindly. I got brothers on the force who are black. Let me not, treat this guy with a little bit more dignity, respect, or give him some leeway. That didn't happen. They saw an opportunity to murder him, and they took it. Mm-hmm. And that's the way they are from the womb. They go astray and they speak lies. Saying that, well, I didn't murder him, he died of a heart attack, or even yet you can look on the film and see the brother was gone. And they said, well, they took him at the hospital and pronounced his death. Like, you couldn't see for yourself right there that the brother was already gone. When we still was taking the life out of him right there down the street. So you definitely can't depend on. That's the same people that you going out seeking justice for, marching, begging them, hopefully they'll look on you with enough decency not to kill you for the smallest infraction. But we know from the scriptures, we know that that's not the answer, that they go astray right from the womb. Let me get Proverbs 4:14. Let me get a chance. Sure. Let me do that. So, you got it. Let me get Proverbs 4:14. You know what? No, give me Matthew 12 and 50.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 50. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother.
All right. So, we know, as Christ commanded, when you do his will, then that's how you become a brother, a sister, and a mother. So when you hear these people run around saying you brother and sister in Christ, but yet don't follow one law, statutes, and commandments, you have to question what the world are they talking about.
Right.
So on the other hand, if you're not following law, statutes, and commandments, and these curses come upon you, and you have these wicked cops who are estranged from the womb,
right,
murdering us and killing us out in the streets, it should come as no surprise. So we have to come back, put these into effect, truly become brothers, so we can truly get the justice that we so deserve, and actually our birthright, our culture, our heritage that was stripped from us, basically. That's another thing. Now, you look around to your neighborhoods. There's a reason why we're called black. Black is a color. Black is not a nationality. But we have no other description. We have no other identity. So the label black has been taken away from us. So you ask yourself, where did that come from? How did we get that way? It was taken from us from the very people that you go to seek justice from. They stripped you of your nationality. So much so that we think black is a actual race. It's not. It's just a color. That's not who we are. We are the true Israelites that the Bible was talking about. Right. We are those people. We have no language. We have a language. Hebrew is in scriptures, but our people are unaware of that. We aren't growing up speaking our cultural language. We don't have a culture. As far as we know, hip hop is probably the closest thing to a culture that we have. So, but we got something greater, a lot more strength and vitality in life in it. If we just come back and hear these words. So it said, for whoever shall do the will of my Father, which is what we supposed to be praying for every night when you close your eyes and get on your knees and you pray that our Father who art in heaven, you want to do his will on earth. That's what they claim to pray for. But yet when it comes down to do it, wake up in the morning, eat bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches for breakfast. How about that? Right after you got finished praying to God that his will be done on earth.
Ham and eggs.
If you have ham and eggs, so obviously that's not what the truth is. Right. And clearly, one of the biggest demons in the earth, that Christmas demon, man. Man, boy, I didn't realize how powerful that Christmas demon was, man. That's a strong one right there, brother. Right. You got Muslims out there celebrating Christmas.
Yeah.
I never thought I didn't know what that was, and I was like, man, that's powerful when you got a Muslim right out there getting Christmas gifts.
Damn right.
Lady will leave you behind that.
No Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna work.
Oh man. Oh, even the Moors too. I think they got like a Moors Christmas or something. I don't even know the story behind that, but they got a Christmas too, man. I was like, wow. And clearly, anybody with a modicum of understanding of English can read the scriptures and see that the Lord did not ordain Christmas.
How about that?
So if you're not following these laws, then how can you be a brother to your brother? And if you're not being a brother to your brother, then how can you in turn think that this oppressor is going to stop murdering us? So how do you think he's going to give justice? The lamb doesn't ask the wolf for justice.
Right, good point.
There can be no covenants between lions and men. Wolves and lambs can never be of one mind.
How about that?
But they can only hate each other out and out and through. Let me get Proverbs 4 and 14. So we've been here in bondage over 400 years. And during that time, trying to get some type of relief from this oppressor, we begin to do things like celebrating 4th of July, buying Christmas gifts. Now, 4th of July, I never understand that. That's coming out too. And, because I don't know how it is in your neighborhood, but my neighborhood, man, they like fireworks already.
Yeah.
It's 3 weeks in June, and, they lighting the fireworks already. Trying to celebrate independence that you had no part of. That was the oppressor, the American oppressor, trying to gain independence from the British oppressor. Go ahead.
Man, and it's funny because we were talking to some white people, I think it was last week, and it's so funny how when you tell white people the methods they did to get their independence, it's normal. But it's like when black people say, "Well, we need to take the same message." I said that the white colonists separated from the British. They separated. And people are like, oh, they were, they're patriotic, and they're like, well, okay, so black people should separate. And they're like, oh, that's extreme. It's like, wait a minute, your white founding fathers separated from Britain.
Yeah.
They got away from them. And they're patriotic, and they're the founding fathers. Like, when black people want to separate, like, oh, that's extreme. Extreme behavior.
It was good for them, but not for you. In their own Declaration of Independence, I believe, when in the course of human events, there comes a time where one people dissolved the bands that separated them from another. They felt as though it was good that they addressed their grievances, and then they went down the list of listing, why they wanted to separate, and that's what became the Declaration of Independence. So right then and there, it was good for them. But then again, they don't see us as people, actually. Well, at least not in the way they see themselves. That's pretty obvious. Because for the life of me, they can't understand why you would want to separate.
How would you want to do this?
And unfortunately, some of my brothers are so unnerved, so hopelessly dependent, or drowning in this American dream. We think that if we play the game long enough, straight enough, work hard enough, that somehow we'll be accepted.
Right.
If that was the case, it would have happened already. So, clearly, we keep repeating this pattern and expecting that one day that, we'll get the love from this oppressor that, just won't come. So whether you sitting in the house eating a bowl of ice cream like Bo and John, you can't even sit in your house anymore. You relaxing hard, you did everything right, went to college, got a degree, you moved to the nice part of town, you go home and you sit in front of the TV and eating a bowl of ice cream, doing what you do, oppressor breaking the house and murder right there. This is your fault. Because remember the initial reports on that one, they said, well, we believe he was smoking marijuana. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Now they squashed that narrative when it was some public outcry. But initially, if you go back to those early reports, they were trying to push the narrative that somehow him smoking marijuana led to him being murdered in his own car. I mean, so he's just wicked. So clearly, it's not safe for you to live around the oppressor, because they'll seek you out and murder you in your own home. Just like Breonna Taylor, another just happened just recently, just right off the boat from John, sitting in the house, asleep. Had a hard day work. I believe she was an EMT or EMT training.
Yep.
You hear noise. Sound like somebody trying to break in. They had a no-knock warrant for the wrong house, but that's beside the point.
Right.
And the suspect that they were actually looking for on the other side of town, he was already apprehended, so there was no need to even execute this search warrant.
Right.
They did it just for kicks. Just for kicks.
Let's see what happens.
So then, her husband, the brother, which is his charge, this was he ordained to do, to be a protector of women. He said, hey, let me get up and, handle this just in case somebody's trying to break in the house. So that brother gets up, a lawful firearm. If you don't announce yourself and you come in the house, which everybody knows that, you're only trying to protect your life and your property and, your loved ones, or somebody come in the house, you don't know what their intentions are. And so he fires, they fire back, kills the sister in her own home. So clearly, this is and again, these are the same people that you march with, holding hands with, demanding justice for our dead loved ones.
Right.
And truly, what do you expect to gain? You got the scripture?
It's Proverbs 4, verse
14.
Come. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not into the way of evil men.
Well, they aren't evil men. I don't know who are. And when it says enter not the path, it means that you're not to follow behind them. And that's what we've been doing. We try to go to the same schools that they go to, get the same jobs that we think we ought to get, to make enough money to live the life to try to be accepted.
So it's funny when you say schools, because I teach, and it's like from coast to coast, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and pretty much most black schools, it's predominantly white female teachers. And he's like, and I'm like, well, where are the black teachers? And what really gets me as a teacher is every year, the teacher of the year that's making is always white. I'm like, where's all these black teachers that I see every day slaving? All the teacher of the year is always white. So that's why they got all these movies, Dangerous Minds, Freedom Riders, because it's like the white messiah, hero, God complex that the white man always wants. Right. It's like there's no other heroes but him. So it's like you always got a white teacher that's just doing these amazing things in the hood, and us black teachers, we just can't function. We're just too mean. We're the Joe Clarks. We're the too mean. And I'm just laughing. Every time I get on a student, the white man comes and tries to save him. Oh, he's too rough on you. It's like the white messiah complex.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Salaki, if I may, sir. But you see what happens though, right? So every time you try to correct a student, he comes in and he's the hero.
He's the hero, this Messiah.
But not only is he the hero, but he vilifies you.
Come.
So now, when this kid gets older, he appreciates a white teacher and not a black teacher.
Come.
So then when he gets somewhere into a white school, that's when he gets abused and finds out what white teachers are really about.
Come.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's a what do they call it? They call it they training you. They training the children to
look up to white teachers
and
look down on black teachers.
Because
he comes in and, oh, you're too hard on them.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's implanted in the kid's mind that, well, the black teachers are hard on us, but the white teachers, they're so easy.
They're easy, they save me.
I'd rather have a white teacher. I'd rather live in a white community. I'd rather work with white people. I'm the only black person on my block. You understand what I'm saying? And that's when you get people who, now I don't want to live in a neighborhood with my people. I want to live amongst them. You know, when the Most High tells us what? To separate from them. And he tells us to separate from them for a reason. Just like you said, your first scripture was, trust not thine enemy. And just like you said before, sir, we continue to trust in our enemy, and we continue to be destroyed. And we continue to ask the same question, why are they killing us? Because they are our enemies, stupid.
It's right there in the scriptures. So we also, like the brother was saying, if they won't treat you right, you know damn sure they're not going to teach you right. We have been taught right ever since we landed over here in North America. So I don't know why you would expect that to change. So we don't set the school curriculum. We don't choose the textbooks. We don't choose the class sizes. That's pretty much done for us. So if we could actually set our own agenda, then maybe we would see some progress. But that requires brotherhood. That would require us to take charge of our own communities. And the way you do that, come back to the Isupk.
That's right. That's right.
So we're going to do that. So you're not to enter the path. That includes the path of the wicked. That includes this education system. And that doesn't mean you don't go to school and learn. Because of course, we're here and we have to exist here. But that should not be your primary form of education. That should not be your primary form. That you do that to survive, but primarily you have to find out what your culture is, what your language is, who your people are, and then you go from there. And then you see that permeate throughout everything else that you do once you have that understanding. So then, when you go and you become an engineer, to uplift your people. Or when you become a teacher, to uplift your people. So it begins to sort of seep in every area of your life, and then only then will you truly get the justice that you deserve. And then we won't be asking for it, we'll be taking it at that point. And that's ultimately what we want to see, but only we can do that through the Most High and the instructions that He gave us through the scriptures. Let me get Ecclesiastes 7:13. Ecclesiastes 7:13. Because clearly, and you can see with the rise and the protests, we think if we come down and have enough dialogue, you see on the talk shows, we say, well, we need to have a serious conversation about race. We need to, Ecclesiastes 7:13. We clear if we talk about it enough, if we have enough forums, or you have the little white kids and black kids playing together, maybe that'll somehow foster some new relationship and understanding. So we'll all, get along. I don't see color, that's just I never understood that one. Or, we hang together, or we work together, like somehow that's gonna change his behavior when they're in power. And not just power of the police, but the power of this government. Structurally, it's not here to benefit you, and that's pretty obvious. So I don't care how many black mayors and black city councilmen that you elect. You can't change the system. You can paint the car, but if you don't change the whole mechanics of it, if you don't really get under the hood, and you're not changing the direction that it goes, and that's what we've been getting surface changes. not substance. And again, I won't keep beating the dead horse, but I don't have no other way to say it. These laws, statutes, and commandments. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm gonna keep saying it until I'm blue in the face, until I can't say it anymore. Because it's the only solution that we have. It's the righteous solution. It's the solution that we need. It's the solution that we love. And if you want to be a brother, if you love your people, then you contact the Isupk. You can go to isupk.com, find the local school in the city, and you call. And you get down with this brother. You got the scripture?
Come. Proverbs chapter 7, Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 13. Consider the work of God, for who can make that straight, which he hath made crooked?
The Bible. So, this oppressor, this extremely wicked devil, can never be your brother. He was estranged from the womb. The Most High created him that way. So you can't make him straight. There isn't enough conversations that you can make to make him all of a sudden see you as a person. To all of a sudden make him not want to kill you. To not want to miseducate your children. To not want to look at himself as less than and look at them like everything right. And going back to what you were saying before, that's part of the program. That's the whole thing behind the seizure bourgeois. Because if your God looks like them, then obviously, and if I say I love God, then obviously I have to love him. So if he is the Most High, because they also teach that Christ is God, that's a whole other topic, but we know that's not true. Then, and he's above me, then everything else is above me as well, because I'm second class.
Right.
So then you subconsciously got that in your head, and then you tell little Johnny, well, go to school and be a success. And they look as though everything else is above them, because his whole life you taught him that he's nothing. So if you think that you are nothing, again, you'll look at everything else around you as though it is above you, like it's too difficult. And now, I'm not saying that there are some of us who can break that program and who achieve in spite of, because the Most High made us a great people.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we don't, that just because a few of us are able to achieve in spite of, that doesn't mean we're not supposed to see and identify and let them know we see what you're doing. We see the game. We see the mistreatment, the miseducation.
Right.
So when I remember they had some magazines, the beauty magazines, and what their picture of beauty is. And I remember they had all these fit, trim, female oppressors on the cover of magazines, and on the corner they had Gavin Silver. And that's not to disparage the system, but obviously they wanted to compare contracts. Look at us and look at her. So when you're a little girl, or even the young men, when they start looking at what's attractive or what they think of beautiful is, they define it every single time in their media, in the commercials, on TV. From the time you're a kid in the cartoons to the time you're a teenager, all the way up in adulthood, they are forming your opinion of what beautiful is. So if you do happen to, achieve some sort of success, the first thing you want to do, just like our athletes, you want to, run and give him the present. You want to, marry his daughter, get his wife. Because you've been groomed and taught that that's what valuable is. That's what you do when you get successful. So why not? I don't want nobody to look like me, because I ain't shit. So that's part of the program as well. Let me get Habakkuk 2 and 12. Now, during some of these the protests, and you know, some of the people still run around the streets in various cities, and certain things. Matter of fact, the brother who just killed in Atlanta, I believe they burned down that Wendy's. By the way, I think that Wendy's went up in smoke.
They tore it down.
That thing is gone. And I don't feel bad about that either. I'm be missing Wendy's, because they also released a 911 call, and it was the Wendy's employee that actually called 911 and get the police there. And that's one thing that we got to consider when you call the police, which is why the oppressor opened the park up in New York, where the gentleman was bird watching, I believe, and she had a dog without a leash, when it clearly has a big sign in the park up in New York where it says all dogs must be on a leash.
Right.
So he's sitting there trying.
Can you please put your dog on a leash?
Yeah, I know from anybody who's really into bird watching, but that's another thing, brother.
Right.
Bird watching, whatever. And the dog, for whatever reason, this is a recurring problem, obviously there, where the dogs kind of disturb that section of the park for the people who want to watch birds. So he asked the lady, hey, put your dog on a leash, and he, let her know about the sign. So her arrogance, because obviously, in this country, they ain't gonna let no nigga tell me what to do. That's just, who do he think he is, and do he know who I am? I mean, that's again, estranged from the womb. They're bred that way.
And it's crazy that you say that, because slowly but surely people starting to realize that, these people think in their minds like, a nigga is not going to tell me what to do, even if I'm doing totally wrong. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Which every one of them situations, the oppressor was totally wrong. The European was totally wrong.
Exactly.
The devil was totally wrong.
So again, if you harken back to what I was saying earlier about the origin of the police department, they find their origin in the slave patrols. And the slave patrols, their function was not only to, catch, the slaves that's trying to seek freedom, but then one of their jobs was also to quell any uprisings. So if they think you want to, might try to burn down the plantation, or, try to escape, or, organize some sort of protest, because that's what that is. You're protesting your mistreatment. They call it an uprising.
Right.
So even back then, it was rioting back then as well. So that was the police department has its roots in that. So when you see one of these oppressors, like the woman in Central Park, her first thought was I'm going to call the police. Because instinctively, she was totally wrong. She was breaking the law in reality, and he did nothing else but tell her that, hey, these are your laws. This is, your country. Obey your laws.
Right.
But they don't apply to her. They don't apply to her. So she instinctively knows that if I make this phone call, whatever I say, that's what's going to go. And so she then went to call the police, knowing that he could be another victim. And that's what she wanted. Potentially. They could potentially show up, say that he's resisting arrest, or, if he sounds the least bit agitated, or, he doesn't comply with instructions. That's one that they use all the time. He refused a lawful order. I mean, that's one they like to use.
Right.
The least bit infraction, and they know that they'll pretty much could potentially take a brother's life, and that's what she's counting on. So whether it's a little girl trying to sell water or lemonade, or they'll just call for anything. So if you understand the history of the police department, it's no wonder that you have people now calling for the police departments to be defunded. And that's another thing I always like to tell people. The police, the thought or idea of the police is just for show. It's because you got to think, what is the function of the police department? We know here in Baltimore, we regularly have over 250 plus murders annually. That ain't nothing. And police, you have them like every few blocks. So if the police actually deter crime, surely we would see the drop in the murder rate by that. That is not the police don't operate that way. The police supposedly what they're supposedly are there for is to apprehend the suspect after a crime has been committed. After a crime has been committed. Now, rarely, occasionally, they might, see a crime in progress, at least that's the way they tell me. I don't know about that either, that's kind of iffy. But generally, they only show up until afterwards, any crimes that, they stop is the one that they probably manufacture and create themselves. And we know that to be all to be true in Baltimore City. Right. You don't have to look no further than the gun task force to see that. So you got that scripture?
Come. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity.
Now, it's called destruction. Woe. That's what woe is. Destruction. To him that buildeth a town with blood. Can you think of any other place over here in this North American continent that has been established for more bloodshed? Again, Native American, pretty much gone, wiped out. Our Mexican brothers, of course, we all know Mexico used to extend all over California, Texas, Arizona, all over the West Coast.
Of course, they have Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah. And still to this day, you'll have oppressors running around. They call them militias. Basically, they just oppressors running around with guns and fatigues, murdering Mexicans trying to come over, tribe of Isupk, just trying to get to America to, just to eat. Right. Maybe get some health care. You gonna murder a man, old women and children, put them in dog cages because they want some health care? So here, the Most High is saying, "Whoa," calling for destruction. To he that built the town with blood, and this whole country is built on bloodshed.
Come.
And establish city after city after city. As we know, if you look over the United States, anytime that our people achieve any type of success, they would pretty much murder people and burn it down to establish their own cities. And they do it still here to this day. Give us the means and methods to murder ourselves. Drop the property tax rate. Buy up the land real cheap. Move you out after they raise the taxes so you can't afford to live there. Then build it up and make that money. And then over the years, they start the same process again in another part of town. And they doing this everywhere. And I'm quite sure some of you may have seen the reports in places like Chicago where people just finding random stashes of guns. We don't manufacture any guns. We don't own any poppy fields. So obviously, this is, by design.
Exactly.
By design. So the question is, how do we prevent this? How do we stop this? Again, come back to that brotherhood. Come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Be a brother to your brother. And that's the only way we're gonna see our way out of this and get true justice. Not by joining the hand with the enemy.
Right.
Definitely not trying to move in his neighborhoods and take part of this American dream in these towns that were established with bloodshed.
Yes.
And that brings us out of that up on that evil, wicked Thanksgiving. How, for the life of me, how could any person with any decency and any conscience celebrate the murder of your brother in North American enemy? You gonna sit down and have dinner to celebrate the mass slaughter of your people?
Again, sir, he lied to us, right? He told us that the pilgrims came over here, looking for a better way,
Dang.
And they said the pilgrims got along with the Indians, and that was the first Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? So they don't tell you about the, what's that, the smallpox. They don't tell you about them destroying the buffalo, because at first they couldn't destroy the Indians, so they destroyed their food source. They destroyed all the buffalo and starved the Indians out, and that's the way that they ended up destroying the Native Indian. You know what I mean? So they lied to us as a kid, just like you said before, and then they come up lying to you in junior high and high school. By the time you get out and you become an adult, you're a full-fledged American citizen, and you're a full-fledged an enjoyer of Thanksgiving because of all the lies that they told us. So they said what was the scripture that you said before? The one about they are born.
That was Habakkuk 2.
No. The first one that you used when you said they are born telling lies.
Oh, they are the wicked are estranged from the
They
go astray as soon as they be born.
Yeah,
that's Psalms 58.
And they lie. They go along telling lies. This is what they do. It's part of their heritage. You understand what I'm saying? Even when you think about when they separated and came over here from Great Britain anyway, right? They sent their criminals, they sent their murderers, they sent their rapists, they sent their robbers, right? So if they sent all of that over here, think about what they do on a natural day-to-day basis. They rape, rob, and murder, regardless of what they do. It's in their DNA to do what they do. You understand? They didn't send people over here that was looking for a better way or a better life. They sent their cast-offs, their throwaways. You understand? And think about when you bring all your castaways and your cast-offs, and then they start to interbreed. A rapist breeds with a murderer. So now you got a rapist murderer. You understand what I'm saying? So when we look at them, we always, because God gave us so much compassion and sympathy, we look at them and we keep questioning, like, how can they be like that? But if you go back in their history, look at who was sent over here. You understand what I'm saying? So it's by this time we should be adept and at knowing that this is how they are. This is the reason why the Most High tells us what to separate from them. You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, think about their history. Look at them. Look at what they come from, and then, like you said, they interbreed. Just like when you mix you mix Jeep and you mix a pit bull, you mix Jeep with Mountain Man, and now you got a dog that can fight for hours and got a hard bite. You understand? You mix in murderers and rapists and robbers, and look what you get. Pathological killers.
I was thinking, like, so a certain type of mixing will bring certain type of children, correct?
Think about this, right? If you mix two people, if you almost mix two people that are bipolar, what do you come out with?
Super bipolar.
You come out with you know what I mean? You come out with a super hybrid, a lichen. You understand what I'm saying? A lichen. You understand what I'm saying? So it's all right. Think about what they say. Okay, Captain Tazariak did when he did the the little lecture that he had. He said that the doctor came and said that slavery inbred into our DNA the things that we go through now. Docile, being humble to our oppressor and all that thing. It was inbred into our DNA over time in going through slavery. So when we look at our own people and we ready to fight them, but as soon as a white man says something to us, we put our heads down. It's in our DNA. Well, it's the same thing with them. You understand? When you put rapists and murderers together and you get them to interbreed, then what do you get? You get just what we seeing today. A police officer who could care less about people taking his picture and filming him as he's killing George Floyd. Police officer that can chase a dude down in a parking lot. Think about this. If you look at the video in slow motion, before he threw his hand back and pulled that trigger on that taser, the officer was already pulling his gun out.
As far as I'm concerned, the brother was running for his life.
He was running for his life.
His brother was running for his life.
The officer, as he's doing this, the officer's already pulling his gun out. He already had the intentions to kill him. You understand? Think about Trayvon Martin. Dispatcher told him 3 times, stop following him, don't pursue him, don't pursue him.
Right.
You understand?
Come.
It's in their DNA to do exactly what they're doing right now. And the Most High, we go in it again. Most High tells us to separate from trust not thine enemies. Put not your trust in them. Don't, you know what I mean?
Come.
Heed to who you making friends with.
Come.
And that's a problem with us because we got so much sympathy and because we got so much compassion. We see one killing right here and then we ready to come together. Oh, we gotta love y'all, and then that's when you get black people out there in a white person's riot. And then the black people get blamed for it. You see white people spray painting on Starbucks, Black Lives Matter. But then they come back and say, look what black people did. You understand what I'm saying? And then we continue to embrace them and bring them into, family business. You understand? When they should be totally exiled. You understand? We should have our own communities. You understand what I'm saying? And when you have your own communities, you can police your own communities.
Right.
And that's
when you have a force, you are allowed to police your own community. Who do you think polices the East Indians community? Who do you think polices the Arabs community? Who polices the Chinese community? And we all know who polices the so-called Jewish man's community. We separate ourselves and we police ourselves. The problem with us is we don't believe that we can police ourselves.
Come.
And get Psalms 97 and 10. And to build on what you were saying about that, how they send all their criminals, the whole continent of Australia was taken over by Britain. They pretty much used it as a penal colony. They sent all of their prisoners there.
Right.
Like I was talking about that earlier when they, I think the indigenous people lived there, they called them Aboriginals or whatever. Or Pygmy people, I believe. So they're pretty much all gone. It's literally like only a handful of them. I think they number maybe like the few thousands basically, if it's even that much. So they pretty much wiped them out. And they pretty much just emptied out all their jail cells, sent all their criminals, and became Australia. So now today you got Mel Gibson. That's pretty much.
How about that?
So another thing that I noticed, and so brotherhood class, and we always try to teach, love your brother, and when we mean love your brother, we're not talking about the oppressor, but some people, I've seen this been out when we at camp, and you'll see, brothers try to go hug an oppressor or something strange like that, because they don't understand who their brother truly is.
Right.
You got that? Sure.
Psalms 97 and 10, correct, sir?
Come on. No, no problem.
I had it, but then it just went away.
So again, that pretty much hatred of ourselves is been taught to us by the oppressor, because we're educated by our oppressor. We are taught to envy him. So because of that, we have an affinity, a love for him. So that's part of the program. That's why we got a Caesar Borgia hang up in grandma's house. Right. Go ahead.
Psalm chapter 97, verse 10. Ye that love the Lord hate evil.
Wait, say it again.
Ye that love the Lord hate evil.
I know they say that the Lord doesn't teach hate, but that's not what I heard right now. If you love the Lord, if you love the Most High, then you hate evil. You hate evil, and I can't think of anybody more evil than this person here. Right. If he is not the embodiment of evil, then I don't know who is. I mean, how many more murders is he going to have to commit? How many more abortion clinics is he going to have to open? How many more LGBT laws he's going to have to pass? So much to the point where you scared to send your little girl to the bathroom now.
How about that?
I couldn't. So like, I don't have any children, but look, God forbid, if I did, I certainly would think twice before I, send my little girl to the bathroom by herself. And I think about how difficult that is for that you trying to, spend some time, or take your daughter out with your sons or whatever. You can't forget them either, because who knows, the way how wicked this oppressor is. Who knows? You gotta watch them too. You never know what they might do. So if you love the Lord, you hate evil. So if you hate evil, then you have to hate what's been done to us. If anybody is familiar with the slave narratives, if you ever given that a read, and you look at the atrocities that we face, then you can't be too surprised now about the continued behavior. To the same lust for murder that they had back then, you're seeing that still expressed now to this day. And honestly, it never stopped. The only difference is now, we got camera phones. That's the only true difference. So now that we had to hold it up for the world to see, now the oppressor want to come out with these crocodile tears. Black people have been saying this for years. We've been crying this out, shouting this out for years about the police brutality, about the mistreatment. This is nothing new. Like I said, the only thing now is that we got it on tape, so you can't deny it. So if you love the Lord, then you hate evil. And we know that when you love the Lord is when you walk after his commandments, meaning that you do his commandments. Can you finish that up?
You want to finish it, sir?
Come on up.
Ye that love the Lord hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked.
So he will deliver them out of the hand of the wicked. And we know that a devil is a person that is extremely wicked. And we know that our enemy, for like his iron record, so is his wickedness. So it's pretty, plain to see. So the only way you come about that is by the Most High. And that's what that's saying there. How many more I got? Am I good?
You still, yeah. You're here. You're here.
Cool. Give me Job 9:24. So the only way we can be delivered out of the hand of the wicked, which we know that's the suppressor, is to come back to our own culture, come back to our own people. Learn how to be a brother to your brother. Do the will of the Most High. That's the only way that we're going to survive. That's the only way we come into life.
Come. Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
That's just, fortify what I was saying earlier. If to love the Lord is to hate evil, and so you hate the wicked, you hate the suppressor. And if there's any doubt of who it is, then he's the only one that runs the whole earth. He runs this planet, all four corners. There's nobody else that even comes close. And he covers the faces of the judges thereof. And if not, where and who is it? And of course, that's a rhetorical question because we all know who that is. So with that, pass over to Precinct Officer Nazar.
Amen. My man.
Get up, brother. Never hand him his first time teaching. Excellent job. Excellent job. Security announcement. We at an ISUPK coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Jenny Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a brother or sister come into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're here to be saluted only. They're here to share themselves for the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister have an interest in a particular person, and he or she must get permission from their head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which a brother or sister will court each other. After the 6 months period, the brother or sister will get permission from their head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 2, 8 through 10, which means 10th in Hebrew, and is pronounced Ma'ashra. 10% of any penny increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or teachers, pre-fund, free offering, not mandatory, whatsoever you like to give. Upcoming holy events, we have the blowing of the trumpets. That is, what day is that? Blowing of the trumpets. September 17th. Also, check for your school for further details as far as the Passover. We will be still having a Passover for the ISUPK. Reminding the Aquarium to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so forth for ISUPK for events and material. For brothers who want to become a trooper in the school, and he has to start wearing all black, which include black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarf. And with that, we want to give one courteous salute to the teacher.
To Israel. Amai Shabbat. Amai Barak.